About time, Brother Chester, will you lead us in prayer, please?
Lord, we bow together today to thank you, Lord, for time to spend and see the leaders of our community take the cares that we need and to keep us where we need to be. Thank you, Lord, for your leadership you give us and the love that you have for us. And we love you. We thank you for a county that has leadership that leans on you for direction, and we just ask you, Lord, to give them the wisdom to discern the decisions they have to make tonight. Thank you, Lord, for your love you have, and we just keep us in your care. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Chester.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call the meeting to order, and the first thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Motion.
Motion by Darren, second by Ben, all in favor. All right, next we have approved the payment of bills.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Neil and second by Brenda, all in favor. All right, next we have approved the treasurer's budget transfers as presented.
Motion.
Motion by Darren, second by Jason, all in favor. All right, next we have approved the treasurer's monthly settlement.
Motion.
Motion by Ben. Second by Darren, all in favor. Next we have approved jailer's payment of bills.
Motion.
Motion by Brian. Second by Neil, all in favor. All right, next we have approved jailer's budget transfers as presented.
Motion.
Motion by Darren, second by Jason, all in favor. All right, next we have approved the jailer's 2024-2025 budget. Jason couldn't be here with us today, so if there's any questions over the budget, please just ask me, because we sat down and went over it for a couple hours on Monday, so any questions? If not, entertain a motion of it.
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Brian, second by Neil, all in favor. All right, next we have approved the jailer's set salaries, which you all had a copy of. No questions without.
Motion.
Need a motion. Motion by Darren, second by Brenda, all in favor. All right, next we have approved jailer's policy and procedures, which the change was section 4.12 to include all Americans with Disabilities Act laws will be met and followed. That's the change that we have on that policy procedure, so I need a motion to do that. Motion by Brenda, second by Ben, all in favor. All right, next we have approved the sheriff's monthly settlement. Need a motion. Motion by Ben, second by Darren, all in favor. And next we've got to approve to apply, of course we need to get approval to apply for these, a Kentucky 911 Service Board grant in the amount of $38,365.14 for new software for E911. Need a motion to. Motion by Darren, second by Brian, all in favor. All right, next we have Steve and Kenny here on to approve the order a new 2024 Kenworth T380 single axle dump truck for $169,594. Steve or Kenny, do y'all want to tell them, I mean, what the deal is while we're wanting to get a new one because of the old one?
Yeah, what we're working with right now, we normally run 2 single axles, 3 tandem trucks. One of our single axles is just about gone. It's been out of service for about a year. We've gotten an opportunity. Jeff has been working with this guy at Palmer Trucks, John, and we've gotten this opportunity to get this single axle truck. It's going to have a Imco bed on it, just like the other single axle we've got. Bed with the toolbox and stuff for their shovels and whatever in front. So, yeah, if we could get that approved, it'd be great. If that little truck, it's an 05 model, got about 80-something thousand miles on it, and it's a good little truck. But if it goes down, then we have to go back to one of our tandems, which during the summer months is going to be busy laying blacktop or chip and seal or whatever. If it goes down, then that leaves us with no single axle. So. They're hard to find right now and hard to get, so this was an opportunity for us to get one.
All right, and this is also on state contract, so if any questions, I'd entertain a motion to go in and approve. Motion by Darren, second by Ben, all in favor? All right, I'm gonna move this around a little bit because I want them guys are making me nervous back there, Norman, I'll be honest with you. So, Norman, if you wanna go ahead and do what we need to do, cause I know them guys, some of them probably need to get on the road, so.
So, give you a little background. I know, we've had a lot of, I had a lot of questions about how we handle overdoses and things like that. We have a lot of overdoses in our county. A few years ago, when all this first started, someone had mentioned to me that there should be a limit on the number of times that we could administer Narcan, basically save someone's life. And I was a very strong opponent against that, because one of the things that came up, my thing was, if it was your son, if it was your daughter, if it was your child, how many times would you want us to give Narcan to your child? How many times would you want us to save your life, save their life? And every time that came about, it was, well, I want it done every time. Well, then that's what we're gonna do. That's how we're gonna do business. We're gonna try to save someone every time, no matter how many times they may overdose, because that may be the time that they get help, whether it's the second time or the 11th time. And so, and I will tell you that we've been through probably a case or two of Narcan since I've been in office. And in this situation, I'm going to present this award today. I will tell you that I'll read it to you here in just a moment. But on January the 29th of 2024, we got a call of an unresponsive male in his house. When my deputy arrived, the male was laying in front of the door and was unresponsive. And not only was he unresponsive, but he was not breathing, and he showed no signs of life. My deputy administered Narcan to this gentleman, and still no signs of life. This was before EMS had arrived on the scene. My deputy was the first responder, the first person on the scene. So he immediately started CPR. I don't know how many times that he had to, I know he kept doing CPR until finally the man started breathing again. Essentially, he saved this guy's life. This man was dead in his house in front of his door. And one of my deputies saved this man's life. And so I am extremely thankful for that. I will tell you that this is not the first time that's happened. I know this is at least the third occasion that we've brought someone back. This is the third time I have presented a life-saving award to one of my deputies. And this is the job that we do every day. We certainly don't take that for granted. I will tell you that I have the finest deputies. I will put my deputies up against anybody in the state of Kentucky or anybody in the surrounding states. As far as the knowledge and their ability and their desire to want to help people and their desire to want to make a difference in their community that they serve. So with that said, I want to present this award. I know, just also give you a little bit of a brief background. It's not like I heard that this happened. I confirmed this with his sergeant. Sergeant Jordan Jones is the one that came to me and said, hey, we need to do something. Andy saved this guy's life. And so I contacted EMS that responded, and they confirmed that yes, indeed, that Andy saved this man's life. And so I confirmed it with 2 or 3 different sources to make sure that, we we gave it the appropriate award to the appropriate person. So what this says, it says on here, first of all, let me introduce you to Andy Cass. He will be the recipient of the GCSO Life Saving Award. Thank you, Andy. Since the cameras are there, we're just going to face that way. But it says, the Grayson County Sheriff's Office, to whom all these presents shall come, be it known that the Life Saving Award has been awarded to Deputy Andy Cass for the life-saving actions performed by you on January 29th, 2024. On this date, a male subject was found unresponsive and not breathing in his home. You administered Narcan and performed CPR after the male stopped breathing. He was then later treated by EMS and released from the hospital. Because of your actions that night, you undoubtedly saved the man's life. Your actions reflect great credit upon yourself, the Grayson County Sheriff's Office, and the entire law enforcement profession. I would also like to say that not that we want any accolades for anything that we do. Andy certainly did not ask for this. He did not think that he was gonna get an award or anything. He wasn't expecting one, because this is the job that we do. I will say that, you know, we recently had a situation where we recovered some animals that had escaped from the kennels. There was a lot of hoopla about the dogs that escaped, and we recovered all the dogs and things like that. Got a lot of phone calls from that. I can tell you that Andy probably, I haven't talked to Andy about this, Andy probably did not get a call from the man's life whom he saved, nor did he get any calls from the family thanking them for bringing him back to life and giving him a second chance. And that's sad. But it just shows you where we are as a society, I guess. But nevertheless, Andy is truly deserving of this award, and I'm very proud to serve as his sheriff. I'm very proud that I have young men like him and young women that work for me that do this job every day. I'm very thankful for him. So, congratulations. Guys, get up here real quick. I want my deputies coming here too, please. Come up here, get behind us. Tall people getting back.
Straight
All right.
back, not down.
Yeah, stand up. Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate what you do. Always.
All right. Let's see, I'm gonna move around a little bit more. And is anyone here from the Conservation District?
Yes, sir.
All right. You're up. Come on, Mr. Show.
Thank you, and I have to follow that. Come on, guys.
Well, I mean,
I understand, no, we're
you,
good.
hey, look, we've said every year we go on with this.
I know.
You've changed people's lives too. You've changed mine and Norman's, and I mean, I remember those paddlings back in high school.
I'm just thinking, you know, this guy saved a guy's life, and I'm here with a budget.
Now my show.
Okay, here we go. All right, as you know, and I have to do it every year, and it is part of the KRS 262-200 and House Bill 1, and we have to present our annual budget to request operating funds for the upcoming fiscal year, and to give you a very brief overview of some of the programs in our office. Of course, our office is down at the USDA Service Center on Commerce Drive. We try to reach out to various citizens in the community, so each year we visit the schools, we give out trees for Arbor Day, we distribute seedlings to landowners as well. We pay for up to 2 students to attend conservation camp during the summer. We also operate a 10-foot John Deere no-till drill to rent out to landowners in the county. That is to decrease soil erosion by using no-till seeding method. We also operate a dead animal grant. We still have funding left to operate this year. We get this from the state, and that of course improves water quality by encouraging people to dispose of those with a rendering plant rather than over the hill. Okay, also through our office, our landowners in the county are able to receive outside funding for programs that will allow them to enhance the productivity of their farm and also promote conservation. We work with NRCS, the Farm Service Agency, and other agencies to provide financial assistance to those landowners in the county through various programs. For example, we anticipate paying out some $32,625 in state cost share funding. That's where we match funds with the landowner for a conservation activity. We have what's called the Conservation Stewardship Program. That will bring in some $214,300 each year to various farmers. Mostly those are the grain farmers. Actually, that's all for that, to decrease soil erosion and improve water quality. We have something called EQIP, and that's Environmental Quality Incentives Program. Those recipients will receive some $76,400 this year. And then the biggie is the Conservation Reserve Program. That alone will bring in some $462,432 into the county coffers. That totals up to $785,757 that will flow through our office into the hands of local farmers and therefore into local businesses as well. So we submit to you two budgets today. One is ours. You have copies of these before you, gentlemen and ladies. And that is for our operating activities. We also submit to you the Short Creek watershed conservation budget. We have two others in which we are involved. They have not completed their budget in time for us to bring it to you. It is forthcoming next month, and that would be Caney Creek and Big Reedy. We are not in charge of those because we're kind of like minority stockholders to some extent, and they didn't have it done, but it is forthcoming. In fact, we'll probably ratify one tonight. We have our meeting in about an hour and a half. My compliments to you in getting through the agenda. We get to do the same thing, we're just not quite that fast. Okay, we respectfully submit our budgets to you and ask you to approve. Thank you.
All right, we appreciate it. So we need to approve Grayson County Conservation District annual budget on that line. Motion by Neil, second by Ben, all in favor? We also have to accept the Short Creek Watershed District annual budget.
Motion.
All right, motion by Brenda,
Second.
second by Brian, all in favor? All right, and we also got to accept the Grayson County Extension's Office 2024-2025 budget.
Motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Ben, all in favor? All right, then we've got on back to 14, item 14, we've got to accept the emergency management's security bond, or, excuse me, surety bond, I'm sorry. So I need a motion to accept that.
Motion.
Motion by Brenda.
Second.
Second by Darren, all in favor? And let's go to, I'm trying to get it where everybody can, because I don't want to go into executive session till the last thing, so nobody's waiting.
13.
Do you all need to get out of here? That way we'll go through this hire real quick.
We might need them for the executive session.
Yeah, I know we're gonna have Kenny for sure, so. Let's go to approve the second reading of the First Amendment to the Alcohol Beverage Control Ordinance, Jeremy.
All right. So, obviously, we had our first reading in February. This is an ordinance that regulates the sale of alcohol beverages as voted in by members of the Rock Creek District and the Falls of Rough. I've actually pulled the votes to make sure I get the wording right. It's just to update them, to bring it up to clear what we need by law. And so as you'll see, anything underlined, I have just put in to kind of further explain it. I put those vote dates on there. As far as Rock Creek, you'll see on the first page, number 1, sale of alcoholic beverages at restaurants and dining facilities with a seating capacity of at least 100 persons, and to derive at least 70% of the gross receipts from the sale of food if the alcoholic beverage is purchased in conjunction with a meal. That's just straight off the the votes for that district. We went down, cleaned up the Falls of Rough district. And the votes say that you can sell alcoholic beverages by the drink at any golf course in that district, small farm wineries, qualified historic sites, and then the same restaurant dining facility sales are allowed, except there was actually 2 questions, not that it matters. One was that they got to seat at least 100 people, and then there was this alternative vote of 50 people. Both were yes, so I put the lower capacity in there. And then moving on to F on the second page, I just put in there that if any future permittances by vote of Grayson County concerning sale of alcohol in any district shall be added to this ordinance by the filing of an addendum, not by full amendment, so that we could just do an addendum if another vote occurs and then add it to the filing. The last would be on page 4. In working with Carrie, the ABC administrator for the county, we talked about, I'm supposed to be working on the forms for him so that he can begin to regulate this. And we've been working well together so far, and part of it is the payments of certain fees. It's supposed to go through the county clerk originally as written, or his or her designee, but it didn't make any sense to do that because ultimately it's going to make it back to the treasurer. And so I've just substituted in that the county treasurer instead of the county clerk, just to make that easier. So those are the amendments.
Okay, any discussion on it? Any discussion from anyone? Nothing? All right, we've had the first reading. Need a motion to approve the second reading.
Motion.
Motion by Ben. Second by Brenda. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, now we have, where are we going now? Let's see. Other new business. Let's go, Kenny.
Yeah, I spoke with, or me and Bertrand both have spoke with most of the magistrates and Kevin. We've been shorthanded at work there for some time. We had 3 or 4 guys to leave, 4 guys to leave, and we've only replaced one of them. So we was requesting that we could hire another guy. His name's Anthony Decker, from down at Caneyville. I've grown up around him. He seems to be a good guy. He's got his CDLs and so forth. And more than likely, down the road, I mean, when the busy season starts, we may have to, try to look for another person too.
I was getting ready to say, we got enough for mowing?
Well,
One short mowing,
yeah,
one short
On
chip and
truck.
sealing.
yeah, so, but for now, if we could get this approved tonight, it would be helpful. And then, like I say, we may have to keep our eyes open for someone else that we can possibly put to work down the road, in the near future. So if we could, we'd ask to get this approved to hire Anthony Decker.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
All right, motion by Darren and second by Ben. All in favor? All right, so now we got the executive session, but we're gonna skip that for right now. And we're gonna go with the audience, because we got a bunch of people here. So if whoever, if we got, are we on one topic?
Yes,
We're all on
well,
one topic.
this is-
One topic.
Pointing at
this is-
me, so I guess.
This
it's
is
me.
Terry Henry.
All right, Terry.
We nominated him to speak tonight.
Congratulations,
So,
Terry.
he knows extensively about what's going on.
Yeah,
Sometimes education is a detriment. But anyway, my name is Terry Henry. I've only lived in Grayson County for a few years. I live over on Wax Road, and some of these people are my neighbors. But I think why they want me to speak is because I've got to experience it firsthand. I used to live in Elizabethtown, and I got to see Elizabethtown proliferation of recovery houses just explode. And with the introduction of House Bill 248, I think it was last November when the governor signed it, it started putting some regulation and requirements and certification requirements of recovery houses. And just in the last month, we've had a recovery house open, not in our neighborhood, but in a close proximity on the intersection of 1214 and Wax Road. But I guess the main concern from the residents is to make sure that Grayson County is being educated on what House Bill 248 is, and they can start, the government can start examining how they're going to enforce and who's going to be responsible to do that. In Hardin County, the last count, and I think it's up to around 180 now, it had exploded. It exploded about 156 recovery homes in the city
185.
of Elizabeth. It's at 185 now. And what really drives that in Elizabethtown is 16 recovery treatment programs, and that drives it. And then what the other driving force is that a person can move in from out of state. So these programs actually, they're marketing their services outside of the state of Kentucky. So you've got people providing transportation to people to come into these programs. But what drives it in Kentucky is fair housing laws, okay, number one. And number two is that when a person arrives and establishes a residence in Kentucky, basically they just need an address. Okay, there's no waiting time or anything else. So these programs can bring a lot of people in from other states into Kentucky and can almost immediately qualify them for state Medicaid and food stamps. Okay, so that's a driving force for these recovery programs to recruit out-of-state people. And some states have longer residency requirements before anywhere from 6 months to 12 months, but we can't do anything about that. But really what I'm here tonight is to present the House Bill 248 and make sure that's on your all's agenda to become educated on it and how you're going to enforce it to help recovery programs stay in compliance with House Bill 248, and then make sure they're inspected and the things that are required that goes along with House Bill 248. Because Hardin County has hired two people. Okay, they've hired a person that is inspector. Okay, and they won't say this, but the bottom line of regulation is to push these recovery programs out of the city of E-Town. Okay, and then that's my opinion. That's not the judge exec or the mayor or anything else, but a lot of that comes from complaints. As a former resident, what I got to see was drug paraphernalia on the streets, and you're gonna have that regardless of recovery programs. I understand that, but as these people come in from out of state, there's no requirement that once they drop out of a program that they must go back to where they came from. So they typically stay, and so it increases your homelessness, and then it increases your demand, especially on food banks and things like that. They become overwhelmed, and in some cities in Kentucky, they've become so overwhelmed on the demand because of recovery programs that they don't serve the people that they were there to serve anymore because the demand exceeded the supply, and they just shut down their food banks, to be honest with you. And so, as a responsible resident, I think that's why I'm here, to make sure it gets on your all's agenda, that you can educate yourself on it and help develop some framework to see what you're going to do to monitor it. Because as they get pushed out of Hardin County, they're going to go to adjacent counties. So Grayson County better be prepared. And I appreciate your time today. I don't know if
I've got a
did I say
question.
what you all wanted me to
That was
say?
perfect, thank you.
Good.
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
What do you think about Hardin County's ordinance that they passed?
Well, really, from what I can gather, their ordinance is nothing more than enforcing state law. And they have an ordinance there, but really,
Of course, I think and the reason is because you can't keep them out, but you can at least police them.
correct. And that's what House Bill 248 does. It provides structure to police them. And Hardin County has put in a structure to police them and get the bad apples out. And hopefully, like I said before, their goal, they're not going to say it because they can't, because of Kentucky fair housing law and things like that.
Yeah, we're not saying to do
No,
that.
we're not saying to remove them. We're saying to make them abide by the law, and if they don't abide by the law, then they have a right to close their doors. And what happens is once they get them onto the state Medicaid, state Medicaid pays for these recovery programs. And so,
I had a
it's
room, I don't
dollars.
know,
and-
do you know how much it is a month?
It averages, from what I understand, $400 to $600 per resident per month. So if you get 10 residents in one home, and you've got 10 people in there, that's $4,000 a month for a rental house.
And how many of these you say is in Hardin County?
There's 100.
185 in the city limits of the
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Well, we can't have that here.
If I could,
Yeah, and by the way, before Jeremy speaks, we already knew about this, and we're glad y'all came, and, here's Hardin County's ordinance right here.
And if you kind of compare that to
Yeah.
House Bill,
Yeah.
I've looked at that, it really puts some bone structure to House Bill 248 for Hardin County.
Yeah, so, and me and Jeremy has spoke about it, and Jeremy, if you want to go ahead and,
yeah, I mean, a lot of it you already covered. Is it Dr. Henry?
No.
No?
I used to work at a hospital, so they attach
call you
doctor to
Dr.
it.
Henry.
I was over the lab.
Like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, like doctor, I do like Dr. Pepper, maybe that's where it comes from.
I think that, I talked to the county attorney up there in Hardin County to try to get some insight. I know Kevin contacted me up there too.
Jenny.
Yeah, I talked to Jenny, and
I talked to the judge and the mayor about
he
it.
talks to the big people. I talked to the other lawyers.
The ones that know, he talks to the people that knows how to write them, so.
But
I've got one question.
mhm.
Who pays the man to keep them? They say he can make as much as $10,000 a month off of keeping one man. Who pays that money?
Coming out of your check.
I would say it's probably tax money coming from Medicare and
Terry looked it up, they
Medicaid,
said lowball is $40,000 a year per man, but they can make as much as $10,000 a month per man.
You know, if honestly, I mean, of course, Jeremy, I'll let him tell you what he had, but honestly, if, the reason for this ordinance that Hardin County adopted is because if everybody's heart was in a good place and they really cared about these folks, it would really mean something. But unfortunately, and I'm not saying these folks down in your all's areas like that, but unfortunately, there's people that, that are interested in a dollar. And these facilities are money driven. So, and that's why they passed this, to try to police that, to make sure that they was abiding by all the rules and regulations that they're supposed to abide by. So, but Jeremy had a good conversation with Jenny and them up there, so.
my point is, I think every point you've had is completely valid. I just want to add one more thing on there, is that I feel like, just from the outside looking in and reading between the lines, those 185, a lot of them popped up or unregulated, and they came in before there was any regulation. So now, since this one has come in your area, there's some within other city limits and stuff, but as far as the county at large, those coming in have put us on alert. And so, I'm gonna, me and the judge have talked, I think we're gonna suggest that I start drafting our own version immediately. Because there has to be regulation of these. We wanna be fair to the businesses that are true and mean what they do, which is to try to help these people. But we also want to be fair to our sons and daughters that go into these programs, that they're actually getting the help they need, and not to let the money just take over and have them pop up all over the place. And if they're regulated in Hardin County and they weren't before, like you said, your point of them coming to our county, we want them regulated. They can be certified, they can do what they're supposed to do, just like any other business, and according to the regulations. And I think it's absolutely needed. It's just not needed.
Who polices them when you say that? I mean, when you mentioned it, policing of.
Not you.
Okay.
Well, Hardin County has hired
They
a
hired a
full-time
retired
officer
detective,
to do that.
from my understanding,
think they
and,
split it with the
he,
city.
and I can't think, I know him, I've seen him, I just can't remember his name. And he goes to these facilities and makes sure they're in compliance. But unfortunately, you know as well as I do, some of these facilities, you're gonna get called upon, they do not provide, they don't do the law enforcement side of it. So you're going to be called to go to respond to some of these locations, which me and Ken was talking, made a very valid point. You know, you're 25 minutes from the corner of 1214 and 479, which this place is located. So, you know, it's a pretty good little John out there. So, and I think, I don't know the details. I've talked to the lady that actually owns it, because I think the plumbing inspector and the environmental inspector and the building inspector showed up out there, because they've received calls from folks, and they've called me, and I don't think they're in compliance there, from what I have been told. And if they get in compliance, they'll be fine, but I think they was trying to put as many people into the residence and to a garage area. Am I right,
Yes.
you guys? And into a garage area that's not actually been approved by a building inspector, which would be Teddy Webb. And there's just some guidelines they've got to go by. And that's whenever I contacted Jeremy, and he got the ordinance, and I called the Mayor Gregory of Elizabethtown, and Judge Tall in Hardin County, and they passed this. You know, we would have to hire someone to police this. I don't know that it would be a full-time position now, because do you know any other ones other than this one, Norman? Do you know of any?
I've heard rumors of them, but I haven't heard of any.
I have too, but I haven't, I mean, nobody has contacted us, so, unfortunately, I don't think they have to contact us just to start one in somebody's house. Is that right, Jeremy? I mean,
Well, if we pass this ordinance, they're gonna have to.
that's what I'm saying, so, it'd be my recommendation, and I think, and Jeremy, I think you're right there. Would you recommend that the county pass an ordinance of this type?
Yeah, I'd like an opportunity to draft it up. You know, we're gonna have to work, Hardin County's ordinance is a little different, because we're actually working with the city on some things, because the city's put in some regulations too, and so we'll have to, but I'd like to be able to get a first draft out, perhaps even sooner than next month, just depending on where we're at. We have to call another meeting, or, but you tell me, you guys tell me what to do, if that's what you want.
What's the thoughts of the body?
Terry
I
looked
think
it
the
up.
sooner the better.
Me too.
Terry looked it up a couple of weeks ago, and there were only 15 known certified in the state of Kentucky. 15.
But there's 180
Well, there's
of them.
185 in E-Town.
Yeah, and Hardin County gave them a leeway to apply for certification. They gave them certain dates and everything. And so, but still, I think that it's gonna.
They have to,
First of July.
the first, I think it's either the first or end of July to apply. And then if they don't become certified by the end of the year, then the action is they remove Medicaid payment for these individuals in the recovery program. The penalty is they no longer pay them to be there.
Well, you know, everybody in this room's got somebody in their family that's been affected by drugs. I don't have a problem with, you know, the drug rehabs, and I think they're needed, but they also need to be doing it the right way, instead of do it for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. And I'm not saying that place is doing it for the wrong reasons. I don't even
And we're
know.
not either.
I don't
We've
even
had
know
no
the
problems
people.
with them.
But evidently, it's a problem in Elizabethtown that we don't want in Grayson County.
They got behind the 8 ball in E-Town,
Yeah,
and it
so-
exploded on them.
And we're ready to get in front of the 8 ball. We want to take care of it. So Jeremy will work on the ordinance, and hopefully he'll have it drafted. And is there any questions from?
Is that the only one over there, Ken, just that one?
That I know of. It is.
Word of mouth flies when you start seeing, oh, I've got rental property, you know?
Yeah.
Man, I'm getting $800 a month for it.
Yeah,
and I
but
can get $4,000.
what they get in E-Town and what they get in Grayson County be a lot different.
Yeah, and I think I've even heard, I've talked to Judge Schode over in Hart County, and I think they've had a few leave.
Well, that was probably at Cub Run.
Okay.
And they had problems with neighbors there, and they moved the one from Cub Run, one of them. There was a men's and a women's facility there.
Gotcha.
And they moved the men to our area.
Yeah, and I don't see how the state doesn't regulate
Well,
that
we-
someone can just open up a drug, say, well, I'm a drug rehab and start making money. It makes no sense to me.
There's 4 levels, okay? Level 1 is basically you're just a residence, you're just supplying a place for them to live. And then level 4, which is the biggest level, where you're requiring security, rehab, counseling, meals, residency, you know, the whole ball of wax. And
And I mean,
I don't know what level the.
And like I said, I mean, and it's sort of, it's strange to me that you don't even have to be certified to watch these folks. I mean, what's your classification or your certification to even do it? I don't get it. I mean, it just makes no sense to me. But
What I really don't get is the state of Kentucky allowing residency that quick to enable someone to get onto the state Medicaid and food stamp or SNAP or whatever you want to call it program. But you know, that's beyond
yeah,
this
that's
room. to fix.
another discussion. So, but anybody, any of the magistrates got anything on this?
He gets on it quickly.
Draw it up. Special meeting.
You okay with that, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'll draw it up. There's some, you know, for first reading, we've got some publication timeframes I gotta fall within, can't be too soon, too late, so I'll look at those too, and then if I can get it before the next month and fit in with that, then I'll talk to you, see if we need to call a meeting.
Okay, that sounds great. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, appreciate your all's time.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
It's
Thanks.
no
Thank you,
problem.
everybody. Thank you.
No problem. Wish we could do more, but we'll see where this goes. And we've hired a great couple of guys here lately. The emergency management director and the deputy director, Butch, and Carrie's here with us. And Carrie is he's doing the ABC stuff for us too. And of course, I was sitting there going, man, who could I get to do this? And he's trying to hide. I can see him going back there. I don't want nothing to do with it. So, but we appreciate everything Kerry does. He, like I said, he does the ABC stuff for us too. So we appreciate that. Kerry, you got anything? Why?
No, sir.
Nothing?
No.
Okay. Any new business? Norman? Nothing. Ben? Nothing. Anybody?
I'm sorry.
New business? Jeremy?
No.
Old business? Anyone? Nothing? All right. Nothing? Nobody? All right, need a motion to go into executive session to discuss potential litigation.
Motion.
Motion by Darren and second by Brenda. All in favor? Had to use the bathroom, I think. A motion to come back from executive session.
Motion.
Motion by Brenda, second by
Second.
Darren, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we've been discussing potential litigation and need to get a motion from the court for Jeremy to proceed with a, I guess, lawsuit with some damage to a road within the county. And we will, once the lawsuit is filed with the court, we will then release the names and the location. So I need a motion to do that. Motion by Darren, second by Ben, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, anything else? Anybody? Matt, you got anything? Sam, nothing? All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Brandon, second by Brenda, all in favor?
Aye.